So again, ask your questions in the chat. We'll hopefully get to some of the questions that you all had when you registered. I'm gonna introduce Magali Garcia, who is gonna be our presenter. She works for MFS's Cash Oregon. If you're not familiar with Cash, they recently became a program of Metropolitan Family Service, but they for a long time have been the experts of sort of the free tax support preparation services here in Oregon. And she is the volunteer program coordinator and Griffith Drive building tax site coordinator as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Magali.
Hello, everyone. Wow, yeah, this is the new normal, right? This is how we're going to have our meetings, and hopefully this will be over soon. I really enjoy having the direct contact with people. Yes, I am going to start a presentation shortly about tax navigation and the earned income tax credit. Let's see, yeah, I'm just gonna tell you a little bit about myself. I joined Cash Oregon 2 years ago. I joined as a interpreter, and I really value the program and decided that I wanted to be part of it. So I went ahead and certified to be a tax preparer. It's only my second year doing that. And I also got hired as the volunteer coordinator. So without much delay, I see some people checking in and introducing themselves. I won't be able to read all of you at this point, but I'm going to go ahead and start the presentation. How do you feel about that, Luke? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully it will work as we tell me, Luke, do you see my first page? Yeah, okay. So this is going to be a short, condensed PowerPoint presentation on income taxes and the earned income credit. I like to call this presentation a tax navigation 101. And yes, that's because this is just the basics. Here is where you see if you want to learn more, you can actually join our program as a volunteer, and you do that just by signing in into cashoregon.org, and you can start coming to our training, which is free, and then you become an IRS tax preparer. And training starts in the fall. Hopefully, we will get back to normal. So anyway, so who is not familiar with this phrase? In this world, nothing can be said to be certain except for death and taxes. How relevant is this these days? Yes, death and taxes are on the top 10 words that are mentioned every day, right? We see it on those conferences on TV, and the other, perhaps other words that we see often mentioned are payments, relief, opening the economy, essential workers, testing, flattening the curve. I mean, we're used to those words by now. So what I want to make sure that we expect from this presentation is that we're going to see some basic, you're gonna get some basic knowledge on income taxes. You're gonna see the benefits of filing your taxes. And we're gonna learn a little bit about the earned income tax credit. And we're gonna talk a little bit more about the economic impact payments that the government is giving people. And we're going to share with you some other resources available. Please keep in mind that income taxes is a very complex subject. So you will not be expected to be a tax expert. Like I said, this is my second year, and trust me, I cannot call myself a tax expert. In fact, we have people that have been doing taxes with us for 30 years, and there's some cases that they need to get some information directly from the IRS. That tells you that taxes is a complex subject. So anyway, your federal taxes, you might find this basic, and I'm sure all of you know that the government collects taxes to pay bills and provide public goods and services. The Internal Revenue Service, the IRS, is the nation's tax collection agency. The taxes you owed to the government are generally paid through withholding. That means when we get taxes withheld from our paycheck. And these are, or when you pay estimated taxes, right? Some people that work, that are self-contractors, they paid estimated taxes. And payments made when you actually file your taxes. That's how the IRS gets their money from us. Also, we are responsible for state and local taxes. Oregon collects income tax, usually collected through again, through your paycheck, meaning your tax withholdings. Property taxes are typically imposed by your state or local governments. Each state have their own criteria or rules or what property taxes are collected. Oregon includes land and buildings. We do not pay for cars taxes, some other states do. Counties, cities, regional governments, like here in Oregon, like the metro area, may also impose additional taxes. For example, the Portland arts taxes. If this is new to me, I recently moved to Portland, and I used to live here 15 years ago, and when I learned that we are supposed to pay the Portland's arts tax, and that is taxes is referred to the arts education and access income tax, and these are funds for schools and teachers and arts-focused nonprofit organizations in Portland. Here I have a link for you if you want to learn more about this tax. And also, this is a good point to let you know that this presentation, if you like, you can talk to Luke, and I will be sending this new version of this PowerPoint to Luke, and then he can actually send it to everyone if you are interested. Anyway, another good point about this is that some people, especially our low-income clients, might be eligible for an exemption to pay this Portland arts tax. So you can learn more about that through that link. Now, here is where it comes the questions. Do I have to file a tax return? Well, it depends. You know, there's some rules. Generally, you must file a federal tax if you make more than the standard deduction. So I put some numbers here for 2019. If you or your clients are single and earn more than $12,200, you are required to pay taxes. And then you can see if you are filing married, and jointly, you have to, if you made more than $24,400, you have to file your taxes. And if you are claiming to be head of household, the threshold is $18,350. Oregon has a lower threshold. So this is important to know, because some people say, hey, I don't have to file my federal income tax. So people don't file, but hey, guess what? In Oregon, if you are single or if you are filing married separately, if you made more than $6,230, you have to file. So People usually stop right on the federal income tax, but they need to look further and see if they're required to pay in Oregon. You can see also the amounts for married filing jointly. If you and your spouse made more than $12,460, you are required to file. And head of household, $7,775 or more. You are also required to pay taxes, to file your taxes, if you are self-employed and you made more than $400. So say that you work, or a client of yours, they're cleaning houses. If they made more than $400 a year, they are required to file their taxes. If you are paid on a 1099 MISC form, you are also required to file, because the IRS will get that reported. So they will be expecting you to file a tax return. If you or your clients bought health insurance through the marketplace, they are required to file. They usually, people that buy health insurance through the marketplace, at the end of the year, they get a form that is the 1095A tax form, and that tells you right on the envelope, this is an important tax document, you must file your taxes. If you bought, you or your clients bought insurance from the marketplace and did not receive this form, you must call your provider and ask them to send that form, because again, the IRS knows that you bought insurance from the marketplace, and they will be expecting you to file a tax return, and they will for sure send you a letter that tells you that you must file. Now, this is a different question. Should I file a tax return even if I don't have to? And the answer is usually yes. Why do you, even if you're not required to file a tax return, you must file your tax return, because you might be getting some money that the government owes you. And thousands of people leave money on the table in tax credits and paychecks withholdings for not filing. That is through those credits that we are entitled to. And also, if you're not required to file your tax return, but the government withheld money from your paycheck, chances are you are eligible to get that money back. Also, a benefit from filing your taxes is to protect your identity. If you don't file your taxes, someone else could be filing in your name. Ensure that a good standing with the IRS. If you don't file, and if you owe taxes, you will be subject to penalties and interest. And trust me, the IRS will find you to collect that money. Also, tax returns are used for many non-tax related things, like student loans, immigration, people that are working on getting their immigration status corrected, for saying in a way. They actually can show that they're being good at filing their taxes, and that is a very good record to have with the government. Let's see, what if I haven't filed in the past years? Yes, many of our clients neglect to file their taxes for many reasons. So, but taxes, when they're due, and you must file your taxes. Taxpayers are eligible to receive tax credits for the last 3 tax years. After that, if you have taxes that you didn't file previous to those 3 years, if you were to receive credits, you won't be able to, they expire, for just to say it in a basic way. Each year has its own fees and penalties. So if you don't file your taxes, you might find a bill that keeps growing and growing. If you can find your paperwork to file your taxes, some of our clients come and they say, hey, no, I work, I can't remember if I worked. So a good place to find that information is you can actually register online transcript, and they will tell you exactly how much you made, if you paid taxes. So that's a good resource right there to tell your clients. Even if the refunds are garnished, it would be a good idea to file. Hey, you might actually pay that money that you owe in few years if you file your taxes, because if you're getting those credits, then you'll be in a good standing with the IRS, right? And then in the future, you might be able to get that money back to your pockets. Okay, so items that can help you can help your tax refund grow. If you have dependents, if you have a retirement plan contribution, the government actually values that, and they give you some credit for that. If you own your home, yes, just by paying your property taxes, that's also a good point there to grow your refund. If you pay for tax for child care, you also get some credit for that, not only for the federal, but also for the state. If you have medical and education expenses out of pocket, that also gets into that pocket, into that bucket, and then you might be credited for that. If you pay student loan interest, please keep that in mind, because you can get some money back. You do get money back from your student loan interest. I learned that myself. I usually ignore my student loan interest. And since I became a volunteer and I learned the value of this, I learned that I actually get money from paying my student loan. If you have charitable contributions, you can also get money into your account for that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about tax credits. There is two kinds of tax credits. One that is refundable and another one that is non-refundable. So this might be a little hard to explain, but a refundable credit, say that you file your taxes, right? And you have a refundable credit. If a refundable credit exceeds the amount of taxes you owe, the difference is paid back to you. You get a refund. And that a good example to this is the earned income tax credit or the child tax credit. A non-refundable tax credit is, say that you owe taxes, and then that credit exceeds what you owe. Whatever is left, you don't get that money. You lose that. That is an example to that is the other dependent credit. That's a $500 credit. Say that you owe the government $250 in taxes. And then we apply $250 from that non-refundable tax credit. You don't get that rest of that other $250. So that's the difference between refundable and non-refundable. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the earned income tax credit. Like I said, it's a refundable tax credit for working people. That people with low and moderate income are this segment of the community that qualifies for that credit. The Earned Income Tax Credit is one of the nation's biggest anti-poverty program. In 2016, roughly $137 million was left on the table for people that did not they did not file their taxes. Therefore, they didn't get that tax credit. And guess what? Unfortunately, Oregon, our beautiful state, ranks near the bottom of in the nation for states that their citizens claim their earned income tax credit. In 2016, Oregon ranked 47th in the nation. We need to work on that. And that's one of the main reasons actually Cash Oregon came to exist, because we wanted to make sure people claim their income tax credit. Here I have a graph that shows you how the earned income tax credit works. You have people, their earned income right here at the bottom, and you see the credit that they might be entitled to, right? So you can show this and share this with your clients and say, hey, if you have 1, 2, or 3 children and you make this much, you can get up to this much in tax credit. That's money into the pocket of people. So this, again, is a refundable credit. So this is a very valuable credit. People, there's some qualifications that we need to look for. People must be between 27 and 65 years old. So say a client that is 23 and has 3 kids, still they don't qualify for that, unfortunately. You cannot be a dependent on someone else's taxes. You must earn at least, this is earned income, so you must work. In other words, this is an income that you earn through your work. And again, credits increase respectively by the number of children that you have, up to 3 children. This is another qualification, that you must have a valid social security number. And we're gonna see this when we talk about people having an I-9. People that have an I-9 don't qualify for this credit, unfortunately. And this is a little table here that I would like you to see when you talk to your clients about the benefits that how the earned income tax credit helps family. Like I said, it's a nation's anti-poverty program. It's been proven to improve infant and maternal health. It's linked to higher achievement in schools. Children in families that get their earned income tax credit, they tend to stay in schools and they tend to graduate in schools. Let's see, what else okay, so let's talk about where can I file for free? Because this is another point that we want to make sure. There's some resources there for your clients that they can get help for free. You can come to us, but you can also look into the IRS page, and you can find other sources of other resources that people can file their income tax for free. And I have those links over here if you want to, again, Luke is going to share this presentation with you, so we'll have more information there. When we reopened, hopefully we are hoping to reopen, as you know, the IRS extended the tax day to July 15th. So we are really hoping, we're looking into ways to, if we don't reopen to see people in person, we're looking into ways to offer this service in other capacities. But anyway, what you need to have with you, if you come to us, or if we in any other ways if we can help you, you need to have your Social Security card or I-9 card and with you. You have to have a picture ID, and you have to have your source of income, meaning if you work for someone, that would be in a form of a W-2 or a 1099 if you are self-employed, to have all the information that will help you get your credits or adjustments. This is the page that we had when we are actually were serving people in person. Let's talk about N-19. Yeah, sure. People with a social security number can file their taxes, but people that don't have a social security card or number, they can also file their taxes. And trust me, they are the first ones on our lines, long lines, tax sites. These are people with their ITIN cards. You might ask, what is an ITIN card? Well, ITIN stands for Individual Taxpayer Identification Number. And again, like I said before, is for people, but for whatever reason, not only the undocumented people, but for other reason, they cannot get a social security number. They're issued by the IRS. They're mainly for they're offered to help people file their taxes. For anyone who is going to be who's going to appear on a tax return, and the way that we actually see that they're in ITIN is because it starts with a 9, as you can see right here. What are other uses for an ITIN? Some financial organizations like banks or credit unions, they take an ITIN number for clients to open a bank account. They're also useful for credit reporting. So say that a client that used to have a ITIN and then they managed to get a social security, then that credit history is not forgotten, or your filing history is not lost. You can actually tie your ITIN number to a new social security number. Unfortunately, people that have an ITIN, they do not qualify for the earned income tax credit. Or the child, or a child with an ITIN number do not qualify for the child tax credit. And that is very unfortunate, in my opinion, because they are paying taxes. Let's see. So when we hear that, wow, undocumented workers, they're a burden to our economy, I like to share with you, these are numbers from 2010. I was looking for something more recent, but I didn't have time, and I apologize for that. But I'm pretty sure that these numbers are not going to be that much different. You can see here that taxes paid by undocumented workers in the United States are 9 billion in payroll taxes. And you can see so forth how much taxes undocumented workers pay in taxes. I leave this slide right here because I think it's impressive. When I first saw it, I was amazed. Anyway, we move forward, and let's talk about the economic impact payments due to the coronavirus, the stimulus payment. The information that I have is where we see, I keep track of the White House coronavirus task force every day and see if there is nothing new there. But I also find information in the IRS webpage. And here I copy this straight from the IRS page, and it tells you what you need to know, who qualifies, how much money did I have to make to qualify for that payment. And I won't get much into this detail because really you can actually get this through the IRS page. Let's see, I wrote this, I copied this because I thought it was important to know that even if you did not file the tax return in 2018 and 19, you still have the opportunity to do so for free using Cash Oregon webpage, or you can actually get that information from the actual IRS webpage. I also want to share with you that the recent clerk law school. This is a low income tax clinic. They're actually helping folks that did not file 2018 or 19, or actually haven't filed for many, many years. They can actually help people, but they have a criteria. It has to be low income, and they also have to have some internet access, unfortunately. So, but those are the options, the resources that I can refer to for you. Yeah, I think it's important for your clients to know about these resources, because it would be a shame that they don't collect that stimulus payment. Let's see. I already talked about this. Cash Oregon, el programa Hispano Católico is another source of help. Lewis and Clark Law School, I already mentioned that. Legal Service of Oregon, Local Taxpayer Advocate Service. Refer your clients to any of these places and see if they can actually get the help they need.
One quick question, Magali. Is there specific advice for people looking for business tax help that you tend to direct people to, knowing that it's sometimes more complicated if they're self-employed?
Let me go back. That's a good question. Let me go back. We have some criteria, Cash. If you see here, we cannot do your return if you are self-employed, people work on their own, right? If they have more than $25,000 in expenses, a loss for the year, if they keep inventory, if they have employees, if they use a depreciation or amortization model, or if they use their home as a business, we won't be able to help them. So that's the limitation that we have. But if they go through our webpage and do their filing for free online, they can do that. They can actually file still for free using some other resources. But through Cash Oregon, those criteria right here, they don't qualify. And that essentially means that their income tax is a little more complicated. So that our volunteers, we're trying to help people with that are more in the low income level and has a more simpler tax return. Okay. So let's go back to our slide here. If I can get there. Okay, so I was talking about other agencies that can help. And I usually like to put faces, and obviously we ask our clients if it's okay to share their stories, because our founders, they like to see our numbers, right? How much money in refunds we help people get, how much in the earned income tax credit, and so forth. But people want to see us making a real impact in people's lives. So let's talk about this client that came to Griffith Drive building, and I actually was the one who helped her. She came. She was afraid. She thought she was going to end up owing money to the IRS, and she had 3 children. Her status was head of household. When she left our tax side, she took home $9,400 in federal refund, and $6,557 was due to the earned income tax credit. That is huge for a family like Damaris's. And she also got a child tax credit. And on top of that, she got 1,576 for Oregon refund, and 721 was due to the Oregon Earned Income Tax Credit. So it's important that we encourage our clients to file their taxes. And I'm going to go back to the stimulus payments. People that there is an option that people who did not file a tax return, they can go there and enter their information to be able to get that a stimulus payment. But we must encourage our clients to file a tax return, because not only that they will be able to get that stimulus payment, but they will be claiming credits that they are entitled to, like the Earned Income Tax Credit or the Child Tax Credit. And I have here some other testimonies that account for the benefits of filing taxes. In some cases, people didn't have to file because they didn't make the threshold, and still they went home with a good amount in this with this tax credits. And I like to please keep this our homepage, cashoregon.org. There you can actually find places where your clients can file for free online. Please refer your clients to do that, even especially if they haven't done their 2018-2019 filing, because they won't be getting that economic payment that the IRS is the government is paying us. Anyway, this is a very condensed presentation. I hope that helps folks understand the importance of filing their taxes, even if they don't have to. That's mainly our clients, right? People that are low income, and sometimes they think, oh, I didn't make enough money, I don't have to file. But the truth is, there might be some benefits of them for them when they file their taxes. Anyway, Luke and everyone else, that wraps up my PowerPoint presentation. So if you have questions, I'll be glad to take them. If I might not have the answers, because as Luke said at the beginning of the presentation, I am the volunteer coordinator. I am a certified volunteer, but I have been doing this for just 2 years. And when I get clients that whose return is a little more complicated, I have to look for resources, meaning I have to look for the IRS page and study a little bit about each client and see what we can do to get the best benefits for them. So with that said, if you have any questions, I'll be glad to take them. And if I don't have the answers, I'll make a note and I'll get back to you.
Thank you. Yeah, so if anybody has questions, you can unmute and ask them now, or you can type them in the chat box. I have a question. You know, being that people can't go in for support in person, and I don't know if you can answer this, is it good to recommend somebody just do their best, file online, even if they might make some mistakes, or to wait till they can get support? Because I know some of the free options online are, you know, really geared to help support people answer the questions they have. There's so the free options, if you're under that 69,000, is like a TurboTax platform or an H&R Block platform, if I'm remembering right. So do you recommend people give it a try, even if they make mistakes, or to wait?
That is a very good question. And usually our clients are the ones who, they come to us exactly because they're not computer savvy, or taxes intimidate them. And I would say those resources that I mentioned to you, like the Lewis and Clark Law School, I would recommend, if you see that your client is having a hard time, or someone who really has no, um, uh, let's put it this way, no clue on how to file their taxes, I would um, I would refer them to those places, because it would be really sad that if they're entitled to get a credit, if they don't know how to manage the tax law or the tax code, um, it would be really sad for them to be losing that tax credit. So there are some other options, that being one, and the ones that I mentioned before. There is also the IRS has another source, that is VITA. We are, when we get certified, you can either offer the service as a VITA, that's volunteer, sorry, tax income assistance, or we are TCE. Cash Oregon is a TCE, is for the elderly, is tax assistant for the elderly. If you go through the IRS, there is a VITA offer that they're more like uh, they can actually, people can have a closer contact with with a volunteer. So they create a profile, and then there is a person on the other end that would help that client navigate that service. When you go and you file online on your own, it's a little more complicated. So when you are offering referrals to your clients, make sure that you know who you are offering to. So there are options right there. Again, the Lewis and Clark Law School, I would recommend that one too, because these are people that actually work. They would take people's tax information and do their taxes for them. They're limited. There is only actually one person doing that, but that's what I would recommend.
Okay, and then there's another question: can the person retroactively get EITC for multiple years?
Yes, but remember that what I said on one of those slides. You can actually claim your credits for the last 3 years. Okay, if you wait longer, the longer you wait, if you haven't filed for the last 5 years, the last 3 years is when you're gonna be entitled to get that credit. You lose that if you don't file those years. You lose that money.
All right, so I think that is all the questions we got. I will be sending out, oh, okay, clarification. The last 3 years, including 2019?
No, 2019 would be the current year, the last 3. So that would be 2018, 17, and 16.
Okay.
And then if there is also in March, the people were entitled to claim 2016 credits. So at this point, unfortunately, they didn't file by March. They would have lost 2016. So, but yeah, no, you don't count 2019.
Okay. So I just sent a link that Cash Oregon, so for your last 15 minutes or 13 minutes before noon, Cash Oregon would appreciate your feedback, not only about this session, but about how they can serve you all around Oregon in providing tax support. So check your emails, and please take some time to fill out that survey. And then as soon as the video is downloaded, we'll put it on YouTube, and I'll email out that link as well as the PowerPoint presentation that you saw, and any other resources that we're aware of right now for answering some of these questions. So I think that's it for us. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Magali, for
Thank you.
your presentation and your insight, and hopefully everybody can accommodate better the questions that are coming in from what you heard today. Can they reach out to you if they have specific questions as well?
Oh, yes. Yes. Actually, you can, my email is Magali, Magali, at cashoregon.org. That's, I have another one for MFS, but I think this is easier. That also works. If you have any other question, if I don't have the answer, I'll make sure to find it for you. I just want to thank you for your attention. I hope that helped. Like I said, it's a basic presentation of what income tax is all about, and especially the earned income tax credit. We want people to claim what they're entitled to. And I want to thank you again for all that you do for our community. It's been a pleasure. And again, if you want to contact me and give us your feedback, if you want in future webinars, if you want us to go in depth in other areas that you might find helpful, or if you see any ways that we can improve this, we would appreciate your feedback. Thank you so much. Be safe. Stay home if you can, and hopefully we'll get back to normal soon.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a good week. Bye-bye.